good afternoon, wherever you are in the world today, and welcome to this edition of Shergroup on the Sofa. I hope wherever you are, you're having a good week. It's nearly Friday as we record this on a Thursday, and I have my guest, Jesse, today here from Nigeria, out of Lagos, with his company, Moniepoint. So we're going to be hearing about his journey in credit management today. So Jesse, pleasure to have you here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
And before we get into the interview, I was just explaining to Jesse that our #1 fan for Shergroup on the Sofa is Ross Saunders, and he is out of Norwich, England today. So, hey, and I think Jesse wants to say hello to you as well.
Yeah. Hi, Ross. Shout out to you.
Great. Thank you so much for that. He loves to hear from all our guests. So thanks for doing that for us. So, Jesse, great to meet you. And I know you've been connecting with us because of the World Credit Congress, which is happening in Orlando in October. And your part of the world, I'm going to be learning today about credit management in Nigeria and, in the wider African arena. So tell us about your journey in credit and how's it going for you? How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm getting on pretty good. My journey started when about 6 to 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough and tough. But however, down the line, I was doing pretty good. I started off as a collections specialist. That's the way at Abington.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it would surprise you that I studied mechanical engineering. However, I had to navigate switch to the credit. And why I switched to credit was it's pretty lucrative for me, and it has a lot to do with numbers, calculations, projections, and all of that, and which is something that I was dealing with. So I started off as a collections analyst, and in less than 1 year, I progressed to being a team lead. And then onward, 2 years or 3 years down the line, I became a manager.
Yeah.
That's the collections and recovery manager, and then onward to being the head of recovery for Moniepoint right now. So it's been a pretty fantastic journey for me.
Great. So a lot of people that I talked to in this interview, they say that when they left school, they didn't plan on a career in credit. Would you say that was you? Did that apply to you? It wasn't your game plan to be in credit, but that's where you ended up.
Yeah, honestly, it actually applied to me. I never saw myself doing credit. It was always about being an engineer. Mechanical engineer precisely for me. Right. In fact, during my school days, I did a bit of an internship with Bristol helicopters. I'm sure you're familiar with Bristol helicopters, right? So they have the service station in Nigeria at the international airport. So that was where I did my internship. It was pretty interesting, and I had a great time. And it's more like solidified my ground to be wanting to be an engineer. But down the line, I saw credit, and it looks pretty interesting. Numbers flying all over the place.
Yeah, you've got to be able to handle the numbers, that's for sure.
True.
So what would you say was your defining moment, and how have you transcended, in this world?
My defining moment was when I did a bit of research some five years ago, and I realized that the credit space in Africa was, I would say, was on show. I said back then, the total credit value of fintech company we had in Nigeria was about 300. Right. And just 3 years down the line, it's skyrocketed to 500, 600. That's about 100%. Right. So again, an idea that this knowledge that this industry is still fresh and growing, and if I am able to strategically position myself to be a value add in that space, it means my growth will be exponential. and I tapped into it, and that was it for me.
Very good, very good. So, so that's a defining moment. So, so as I say, I don't have a lot of connections across the African space. So, and that's a big continent. That's a big chunk of the planet. So, what is the credit industry like in Africa? I mean, do you all get together in credit management associations for the continent, or because North America kind of does that with Canada? Do you do the same thing in Africa, or are you in your different different regions, countries, and kind of stay in silos? How does that work?
Yeah, so the credit management in Africa is pretty good, but it's what I would say still struggling, still just sprouted. Still trying to find, to navigate and find our footing on the ground. And I would say that's going to be pretty interesting, right? And of course, you will agree with me that the credit space is a function of how the fintech itself is also moving, right? And I could say categorically that the fintech space in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is doing excellently well. Right now, in the whole of Africa, I can tell you for free that we have over 5,200 financial service companies. Both in the lending space, of course, the lending space is vast, also in the tech space and every other aspect of fintech that which current to we have over 5,200. And then looking at some very good numbers, in 2020, the penetration rate was about 2.5%.
Yeah.
Right. That was about 4 years ago. Now, just close to 2025, we are only looking at the revenue of that space of the credit space and the fintech category going to about 8 times that. So which means the penetration rate was about 2.5%. Right now, it has sporadically increased to about 13% penetration rate.
Right.
Total revenue of the 5 years ago was like $3.5 billion. Right now, it's at about $7.3 million. Right, and we're going out to 2025. Right, so these numbers give pretty interesting insights to how exponentially the credit and fintech space in general is growing, and the opportunities that are available, and so much an amount to explore.
Yeah. So I mean, do you link up with surrounding countries? Is there a difference between the north of the continent and the south of the continent? Or is it kind of blended? How does that work?
Yes, there's a difference between the African continent and every other continent. What I'll say is the big difference is in looking at how mature the credit and the fintech space is in, say, compared to Africa, it's far beyond. Right. What makes this space a bit sustainable and quite effective. First is the regulatory policies. The regulatory policies over there are pretty stable and gives companies and investors who are moving in to the company to set up a pretty good ground for them to set up. But setting up in Africa is a bit stringent. In the sense that policies are not so good, which is already in the works, right? And that gives so much responsibility to the startup companies to do the in-house than getting support outside. That is the collection process. Now, I did a bit of study on how the collection process is done in the US compared to Nigeria. It's a bit easier in the US compared to Nigeria because of the simple fact of carrying social security number. Now, with your social security number, it's easy to track and know where the customer is at every point in time. So, say you took a facility from Miami and moving to Texas, right? Different states, but your social security number is the same. right? I can easily navigate and track and where you are at every point in time. But here in this part of the world, it's a bit difficult, and that means in-house as a company, you will have to come up with a not unbuilt, airtight process that will, save you from insurance and materials and that so much different.
So I would imagine, I mean, you've been, it's great to see you getting involved with the Congress community. I would imagine that coming to Congress would be great for you in terms of meeting and seeing what is happening in other parts of the world.
Sure.
Obviously, I think the United States probably has one of the most mature credit industries in the world, for all the reasons we understand about how the economy works in the US. And I think every country is, that's why this Congress is so exciting, because it's in the United States and we're all coming to learn from our American colleagues. But no pressure on them. And it's a good place to come. So I'm really glad to see you getting involved and representing your country and that part of the world that, as you say, it's an exciting time to be in credit where you are. Now, as a credit professional, we all know it's imperative that you've got to mitigate the losses from the credit product, the loans that your organisation are providing, and of course that is you are the gatekeeper as the credit manager, the credit professional to all of that. So how do you help organisations to do this? What's your approach?
Yeah, so with my understanding about how difficult it is over here, but it's getting easier by the day with regulatory policies and all that. So how I'm able to navigate that is to help with coming up with a lot process with respect to the collections operations, right? So the collection operations simply speaks to from the credit application stage to the development stage, and then to the risk assessments and all that, to loan or credit monitoring, to collections and then recovery, and down to customer retention. Right. So being able to come up with very excellent process there with a lot of data insights to be able to properly advise or be very where the credit should go to and where it should not go to, right, is actually where I sit, and that's how I'm able to help. And we do a lot of data analysis and analytics also assist with that helps to make more informed decision as to which industry your credit should go to avoid losses, which sector should it go to and should it not go to. Also the collection of recovery, how to reach customers to make sure that we can reach them rather than influence them rather than reduce them. Yeah. All of those processes, right? So that's actually where I sit, to help, do all of that. So creating, developing those kind of processes from start to finish, helps with that. Yeah.
As I speak to more and more credit professionals, I love the fact that you all bring your own personality and your own kind of secret sauce to the process. That obviously there's a kind of a backbone of process of credit management, but each one of you has your own particular approach which works for you and your organisation. So that secret sauce really is something, again, that we encourage people to share in Congress so that we're all achieving best practice. So it's great to hear you talking about that. Well, what do you think are the challenges faced with the credit function in Nigeria and maybe across the continent of Africa, as it continues to move forward? What do you see are the challenges there?
Yeah, so here in Africa, using Nigeria as a case study, I think the bigger challenge here is simply the market volatility, right? So volatility in the sense that customers are not really, right? So whichever industry, whichever company or product that gives lesser profit or meets the need of this client or customers, it could move without looking at other offerings of the set of current products that we're in. So it's just more of with a new company, then just moving and test and see what they do. If they're not doing what they do, they just keep moving and moving and moving. So nothing is actually the way it is. And another challenge is the fact that Africa right now is not so much digitally inclined. So the digitization part of Africa is very a big challenge. And it's taking better shape because of the push and drive for financial inclusion, more openness to credit and all that. Right. So those two, I think, are the major challenge that we're having. But right now, I can say that it's getting stable and there's still more doors for opportunity. I'm playing around with a bit of numbers. Africa as a whole, about 90% of Africa as a whole, 90% of the population of Africa still does cash operations, right? Yeah, exactly. And just 10% of the population of Africa are tech inclined. So which means that there's still a lot of opportunity with 90%. And that gives room for a lot of growth and a lot of positioning and a lot of revenue to the world and opportunity for investors. Yeah.
Yeah, so digitization is catching up. I mean, everywhere on the planet is, in some places are. I mean, yeah. I work in India, which has got a fantastic internet backbone. Sometimes you can't get a Wi-Fi thing. So everywhere on the planet is different. What is the internet backbone like in Nigeria and across Africa as a whole? Does it kind of join up? I mean, that's a huge space, I know, but what about Nigeria? What's your internet backbone like?
Yeah, so the background about Nigeria is I can compare Nigeria to South Africa, right? Because South Africa is more stable and quite advanced in the fintech space. And I think Nigeria is also taking on the likewise Kenya and Ghana. But for Nigeria, it's pretty lucrative. Why? Because first we have a number. The population of Nigeria is over 180 million, right? And the percentage of this population that is serviced has not even gotten up to 40-50%. So which means we have 60-50% yet to be serviced. Fantastic opportunity. The regulations and policies in Nigeria are also pretty good and giving room for a lot of investors to take impact. In fact, we have a lot of fintech companies rising up and coming together, especially in the credit loans and the personal space, right? And yeah, so it's excellent in Nigeria and opportunities are coming out.
I was going to say, how does the business navigate and explore the opportunities in the wider African space? But again, when we go to Congress, the American contingent and other countries as well. But as we're hosting in America, that's what I'm talking about, the Americans. But maybe they when they meet someone from your part of the world, then you can obviously talk to them about the opportunities that there are for them to invest in Nigeria and further afield. And I think having somebody like yourself involved in the Congress community is so important because we're getting real-time information from on the ground in the credit space, as opposed to reading about it. And I think that's very, very valuable. But what what would you say to, thank you. What would you say to people outside of Nigeria who are tuning into this this YouTube channel? What would you say to them about getting involved with you and the opportunities in Nigeria?
Yeah, so what I would say to them is Africa right now, I can say is the bedrock for investment. And I would say that because it's no longer about financial disruption, right? It's about financial eruption. So there are lots of companies coming up with different services. In fact, there are lots of white spaces that are emerging across credit and fintech, markets in Africa. Yes, in the payment space, a lot of white spaces coming up. There is online merchant acquisition, and online merchants, also online and offline merchant acquisition. But more of the fintech space that is being harnessed or explored right now is in retail and SME lending. So breaking that down, we have obligation and distribution. We have retail lending on balance sheets. We have buy now pay later sort of model. We have B2B liquidity and a customer liquidity as well. So B2B liquidity has got to be related to financing and cash advance, salary advance, overdrafts, and what have you. Right. So there are lots of pockets of white spaces, coming up and lots of opportunity. And like I said, we have 90% of the population of Africa still on the bank that does cash transactions rather than a digitized transaction. It's giving room for a lot of exploration and advancement and development in that area. So yes, it's a lot of opportunities.
No, I see that because there are so many places on the planet that are saturated with their credit functionality, either business to business or business to consumer. And I'm sure that anyone listening to this YouTube channel will be probably their mind is starting to click through like, okay, we've got some space here to kind of like go in and make a difference. In Nigeria, we need to talk to you, Jesse. So you're now the spokesman for Nigeria at the Congress. So well done. Thanks for taking that on. Involuntarily, I put you in that situation. But no, I think it's very exciting. What about Moniepoint? I mean, this is the company that you're with. Just tell us a little bit about Moniepoint. I'm going to put all your contact information in the show notes, but just tell us a little bit about Moniepoint.
I lost you for a bit there, sorry.
Sorry?
I lost you for a second there.
Oh yeah, just tell us a little bit about Moniepoint.
Moniepoint was it?
Moniepoint.com?
Moniepoint, oh yeah. I mean, Moniepoint is, I would say, a good company, right? Started off about 5 to 6 years ago with just building payment platforms for banks. It used to be Team Act before it became a Moniepoint. So 5 years down the line, Moniepoint right now powers the dream of over 3 million customers, right? And it's pretty interesting because there are lots of services Moniepoint offers, such as a payment gateway system, which is Wi-Fi. We have a Moniepoint, which is the bank itself, right? That offers business loans, working capital loans to merchants, right? Currently, Moniepoint is building another product called Salary Advance, where we offer credit to salary earners who don't have access to finance. Right. Moniepoint is doing excellently well. Right now, our total disbursement so far is to the tune of 180 billion naira. Right. And we're servicing as much as over 2.5 to 3 million customers. So this is pretty good. And there's a lot that we have to do. This still down the works. And also in Africa, Moniepoint right now is the second, the second fastest growing fintech in Africa.
Really?
Also with Nigeria as well.
People hear that. Jesse's company is the second fastest growing fintech company in Africa. That's a pretty big part of the planet. Yeah. That's exciting. Very exciting. Well, honestly, it's great to connect with you. I'm going to put all your contact information. You're on LinkedIn. We've been connected on LinkedIn now, which is great. Please connect with Jesse from wherever you are in the Congress community. Check out his company website at moniepoint.com. And Jesse, thank you so much for giving us a real-time lowdown on Nigeria and the African market, which I think is so interesting, and that's real-time information from someone on the ground. So we appreciate that. That's great. That's great insight. Thank you very much. Okay. And for everyone else listening in today, this is the exciting thing about the Congress, is having people from around the world joining in our community. We are now represented in South Africa through Eugene Dubert. If you haven't connected with him, Jesse, you should connect with Eugene. But we also have representation now out of Brazil, Mexico, Turkey, Bahrain, Egypt, Australia, Malta, Ireland, France, Canada. Do I need to go on? There's a lot of countries that are interested in this Congress. I think really because it is being hosted in the United States. So kudos to ACA International. Huge shout out to Scott Purcell and Harry Strouser, who are helping us build the Congress delegations in the United States. Thank you so much, guys, for all your help. And we appreciate it. From Shergroup's point of view, we will be presenting in the program. And we're going to be talking about our TV show called The Bailiffs, which is unique to the UK, but apparently it does resonate with credit professionals in other parts of the world. So we'll be showcasing that. Thanks to everyone for visiting the Congress website, which is worldcreditcongress.com. Register there as a delegate, a speaker. There's a few speaking slots left. There's a few spaces for sponsors and workshops. And Shergroup itself, you can visit us at shergroup.com. You can visit us on all our channels. And the World Credit Congress also has a whole set of channels on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So there's no escape from the Congress and the noise it's making in the global credit community. And Jesse, just an absolute pleasure to see you here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Claire. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.